I went and bought some Stadia diamond polishing pads here. This hooks up to any polisher for like a car. What I'm gonna do is, you see this dull edge here? It's really dull. I'm gonna go and polish that up. And that's what these pads are. And these pads are only like, I think I paid less than $40 for these. They give you 50 grit, 100 grit, 200 grit, 400 grit, 800, 15, and 3000. Okay. And they're wet or dry, but I'm gonna run them probably wet. Sprinkle some water on there when I'm doing it, and you'll see. I'll take you along the process and show you how I'm gonna do this, because I know a lot of people might be doing granite on the countertops or something, and you're gonna have an edge, and you might need to polish that up. All right, let me show you what comes in the kit here. Got this on Amazon. You get the part that hooks up to your polisher, and it's got a Velcro pad. And you got to make sure when you buy one of these that it fits, because these can be different sizes. Fit your polisher. And here's the pads. Three, 6, 7, 8 of them, all different grits. So you start off on the 50. Isn't that interesting how it looks? It looks like, to me it looks like marble rocks. What it looks like. But it's, I don't know what it's made out of. It's supposed to have some kind of diamond embedded in it, I guess. I don't know. But that's how it looks. That's 50 grit, 100 grit. So you're going up 50. There you're going up from 100 to 200, which is good. From 200 you're going double to 400, that's fine. And 400 you're going up double again to 800, which is also fine. And 800 you go up to 1500, that's fine. And then you got your 3000. So that's perfect. That's exactly what you need. You just don't want to bump up from like 200 to like 800. That'd be too much. Okay. You want to go up like double only. And that's what you get. I mean, it's less than 40 bucks. Fit these on the Velcro. And watch out, I've heard that these can go flying off at high speed, so wear some glasses when you're running these. Reason why probably these go shooting off is 'cause probably people don't read. It says right on the box, wet dry polishing pad maximum RPM is 3000 when you're doing it dry with no water. 4500 wet. Must be used with polishing equipment. Do not use with higher RPM grinders or other. It says higher RPM usage may result into pads flying off. See, just what I was talking about. It may cause bodily injury or property damage. I've heard people had these flying off and hit their cars and dented their cars with them. Dry polishing may cause eye, skin, nose, throat. So you might want to wear a respiratory mask as well. Alright, got the DeWalt buffer. I use the DWP849X. It's a little bit of a pricey one, but I wanted something that would last. You could always buy a Harbor Freight cheapy buffer, and that would work too, and those are like 40 bucks. I believe this is a 5/8 thread, which works perfect on my DeWalt. This DeWalt only goes up to 3500 RPMs, but the directions says you're not supposed to go over 45 wet, so 35 is more than enough. I'm going to start off with the 50 pad. I already did 50 grit, I'm going to go to 100. So as you can see, there is a shine to it. It's not the best that it can be, but it's not bad. a lot better than it was. What do you think? It's pretty good? Alright, so I went and flipped it over, and I went and did this edge on the other side. And then I'm just drying it off real quick so you can see if it's shiny. Alright, that's how it looks. So you can see it's a little dull in a couple spots, but it's not bad. And it's black. It's gonna look. It's shiny, but it still has this. Still has a little bit of a dull look to it, huh? Even though it's shiny. This is granite, so it's one of the harder rocks that you can have. So it's still, I can still see a little bit of some scratches here. Maybe I'll go over it one more time. It looks a lot better than it did. Alright, so it was not dull, it was shinier than before, a lot shinier, but it still had a little bit of a hazy look, so I tried some 3M Perfect It, and that helped bring out the shine a little bit better. Because this edge you're going to be seeing in the niche, so I wanted it as shiny as I can get it. So right there I think we're good. It's got a nice reflection. Alright, so there's the factory edge, and there's the one that we polished up and use the diamond pads on that. Big difference. And there's another look of two pieces, one next to the factory edge and one that we polished up, and it's a huge difference. I wouldn't want this dull looking edge showing. And the reason why people use those little trims, Schluter trims is what they call them, is because there's, you know, they cover up your imperfect cuts, and most of the time your tile, like this porcelain tile, it's not, the color of the surface is not all the way through when you cut it, and even when you don't cut it, the factory edge is not all the way through on the sides either. So when you have that, you got this funky edge, and nobody wants to see that. And so that's why I'm using the granite, or you could use marble. If you do it on the inside, you don't need a Schluter because you could just buff that edge all the way around. So yeah, definitely worth getting those polishing pads. Alright, so I changed my mind again. I'm going with a marble base, and you can see I notched out a little corner edge there that sticks out. Just think it gives it a little bit of a custom look. And then I'll be using my granite on the top, okay, and on the sides. And the reason why I don't want the granite on the bottom is granite seems to tend to leave watermarks, especially black. So that's why I'm going to use the marble at the bottom. Especially when you have soap and stuff in bottles of shampoo and stuff sitting on top of that. It'll leave little rings on the granite. Alright, my niche just barely fits the shampoo, the conditioner, and we're pretending this is the soap. Okay. And by giving it an inch overlap, that gives you just a little bit more that you could add. Like, see how these barely fit? This can sit on the edge. Now if I was to cut this flush, that wouldn't be able to sit there. So perfect. Alright, so I'm gonna go and polish the edges on these. Alright, got my niche installed. My niche installed. Niche or niche, whatever you want to call it. What I did was I got this granite in, and I had polished the edges, so when it's all done, it looks professional. Doesn't need a Schluter trim because you polished all your edges. Just gotta wait for this to dry, and then I'll put a little bit of grout in those 4 little edges. and then I'll be done. Just final step here. As you can see, I did use some blue tape, and that's just because the grout I'm using is a pain in the butt. It's very sticky and it dries quick. That way I don't have to do a lot of cleaning. So anyways, I'm gonna go and wipe this down with a sponge. So I think that's pretty good. And I'm gonna take the tape off while it's still wet so it doesn't dry. And there we have it. Pretty clean. Alright, that's the end of the video, guys. That's the niche, or niche, all finished up. Came up pretty nice. Nice marble, granite. The nice angle down, you can see the angle. Your water gets in there, it's going to be no problem to come off. Then I'll wait for a day or two to let that dry completely, and then I'll go over it and seal all that with the sealer, and then I'll be done with this whole project. I'll put the glass on later once I get the windows done, but that's it for this video.